Howdy, howdy, howdy. How's everyone doing? Welcome to Cliff Notes Live. Welcome to Monday night. Welcome to post Big Brother 27 world. Well, first of all, let me just start with this. I've got to start off with the big old SKD 143. Love my wife, love my kids, love Big Brother, but I also love a lot of other reality TV that we'll talk about tonight, and love you guys who come out and hang with me every Monday night, and those who watch on repeat as well. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to my channel, turning on notifications, hitting your thumbs up is always appreciated as well, and just get ready for the off-season world. Isn't it cool that we have, just as one show ends, we've got another one, it's another few that start right back up. It's just a time of generational or whatever for reality TV. Man, we didn't have this when I was young. I remember The Real World on MTV was the big deal back then. And then slowly got more and more of this stuff. I got to say, though, I loved watching Big Brother. I thought it was a pretty good season, but it was kind of nice this past weekend to be able to not have to stay up all night watching live feeds, be able to just be more casual with everything. Worked out very well. But I'll be ready for Big Brother again here in just a few weeks. We still don't know what's going to happen, if there's going to be off season or not. We'll talk about that perhaps a little bit. All right, let me see who was out here real quick as we get into this before I start hitting questions, and kind of open night. Whatever y'all want to talk about, we'll talk about more Big Brother and then everything else as well. Carol Mosier out there. Howdy, Carol. How are you doing, my friend? Luke's out here. Ryan 51, Patricia Miller, Laura Lewis, Big Jake 88, Paula Scar. I love seeing these names out here. Karen Hummer, Karen Loveland, Marilyn Sutherland. Let's see, Ma, I think I said your name before, but I will say it again. Howdy, Ma. Kennedy Franken as well. Howdy, Kennedy. Tim Cox. Brian Hosteller. Hey, Brian. How you doing, my friend? Colonel Scooby Snacks. Liking that name. Let's see. Who else do we have? Oh, y'all are just talking away here. I love to see this. Amanda's out here. Howdy, Amanda. Mark Taylor. Cindy Hire. Hi, Cindy. How are you, my friend? Let's see. Oh, y'all having quite the conversation. All right. And let's see. Mosu is out here, and let's see, Paul Long as well. And I think we'll just Michelle Moore, Nicole O'Hara, Paul Long, Pam Robinson, Ken T, and Rooftop Jitterbug, Jane Haven, Lee Strack, Marianne. And I think we'll see Dr. Bose as well. Hey, Dr. Bose, and Amando Chavez. All right, I went through those quick, trying to get past all the conversations and all. I hope y'all are all doing fantastic, enjoying your Monday. It's October. Man, before the month is over, we're going to have Halloween taking place. One of these days, it's going to start getting cool. Not down here in Texas, but one day it will. And before you know it, we'll be getting ready for Big Brother 28. I saw someone at the grocery store. I was out doing just some shopping, and someone ran out. A woman ran and said, "Do I know you? You were on that show, right?" And I said, "Yeah." We talked for a while, and I told her, said, "All right, time to get your videos in for Big Brother 28. I could be watching you come up next season," and trying to talk her into doing it. How cool would it be for that to happen? You never know. So anyway, it's never too early to start thinking about your videos. All right, a few questions. We're going to get right into it this evening. Again, kind of open night, just whatever you want to talk about. Karen Hummer saying, how long did it take you to adjust your normal routine after Big Brother? It was hard. It definitely, that show does a little bit of a number on you. You spend so much time thinking only about how can I advance myself in the game, who is out to screw me over, things like that. And I know when I first got out, did a little LA stuff. My family was out there, so we saw the typical tourist stuff and went to Venice Beach and things like that. Eventually came back home. I wasn't in a huge hurry to start work again because we had holidays and all of that, but it took a couple of months. About the time we got into Christmas and my whole family was with me and surrounded by a bunch of people who weren't out to get me, that started helping. But it really probably took to the end of the year. So say till through December. So what was that, a couple months or so? 3 months to recover. So spent 3.5 months in the house, took 3 months to recover from the experience. And I'm not alone. I know a lot of other people have said similar, and it certainly takes a while, which is very interesting because I've been watching the Big Brother players from this season and seeing how they do. And they're handling it different ways. You've got someone like Ashley, who is out talking a lot. I mean, she's doing a lot of postings and things like that. And then someone else like Vince, who is just kind of going under the radar and staying off social media. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I know when I hit sequester after I got evicted on day 93, one of my handlers told me, she said, Cliff, I know I'm going to tell you the same thing I tell everyone else, and no one ever listens to me. But for your own sanity, just stay off social media for a few months at least. As the longer, the better, but stay off it until you get a chance to adjust. And then when you read all the stuff, it's going to be easier for you to read the good and the bad. Yeah, I didn't do it. No one ever does it, but maybe Vince is doing it. I hope so, because he had a hard time of it. He made it to second place. Yeah, he did something right, but it definitely takes a while to get back into the swing of the regular world. Now, for my case, it was weird because just about the time I was starting to feel more myself is when COVID came along, and then we're all locked in, and the whole world goes crazy for a solid year. So, yeah, it was an interesting year and a half or so of existence for old Cliff Hogg here. But I came out the other side. I'm still smiling, still loving reality TV. So it works out fine. But you definitely have to give yourself some time to decompress from the whole thing. All right, let's see. Cindy Howard, are you watching The Amazing Race? Oh, yeah, absolutely. And then Kara Mosier saying, enjoying Amazing Race. Wish you were on it. Bet you would have given Jag and Jas a run for their money. Well, I certainly would have given Enzo and his brother a run for the money, right? Yeah. Oh, first of all, we could have spoilers. No, they aren't spoilers because you've already seen the episodes have already premiered, so no need to worry about spoilers as long as you're up on the show itself. Yes, I've been watching it. Obviously, I know either having met and talked to a lot of the players and others, at least having talked to them or know who they are. So being the Big Brother family. So yeah, I'm absolutely watching, and it's fun, enjoying it. I gotta say, there's a little bit of like, oh gosh, if I would have loved to have been there with my son and all that, and to do it, and we would have had fun. You watch it in a whole different way when you realize that you could have been there. I mean, you always kind of think, what if I was there, how would I do it? But certainly watching this, Sharon and I are saying, oh, that I would have done that one, or I would have let my son do that one, and things like that. And yeah, I think we would have done well so far. I do not like heights. I'm scared of heights, but it's only when I don't feel safe at heights. If I'm properly secured, like I would love to go do skydiving or something like that, even though I'm scared of heights. Maybe it's just to push myself, but walking out on the little plank that they had to walk out on probably would not have bothered me as long as I knew that rope was very securely tied that was holding me in place. What I don't like is when I'm not secured and I come up to the ledge of a cliff or a building, things like that. That gives me the heebie-jeebies. But as long as I'm secured, I would have done that one just fine. It's kind of interesting because when we were at Ovi's wedding last month, I talked to Kat and her boyfriend Alex about the first part of The Amazing Race. And one of the things they had told me at the time was the worst part of their experience, the toughest part wasn't necessarily the challenges themselves, although we saw Kat kind of melt down with one of those. But the worst part was just the transportation, just trying to figure out the trains and showing up in places. And we saw that in the last episode. Alex had warned me about it, or told me, he said, yeah, we were just sitting there waiting for this train to show up, and it just suddenly wasn't there. And all the locals just kind of disappeared. We're like, where's the train? And he said, they ask around, everyone said, it got canceled. I said, well, you didn't make an announcement? They didn't announce or anything? Nah, it just canceled. And then they realized that they had missed a train. They had to catch another one a little bit later. Apparently, it was very cold while they were filming this. And they didn't show it, but I've heard through the grapevine that it was so cold while they were waiting for trains that they were like hiding out in a little pedestrian underground tunnel to try to stay warm. And just as the train got there, they had to all run out there and try to catch it. And they said it was very difficult with the transportation. And one of the things I'd never thought of that I was told was, you always see them say, hey, could I use your phone? Please. And you're trying to get directions off of that or research. But if you're in the Czech Republic and you ask to use someone's phone, you're probably not going to have a phone that is in English. It's going to be in Czech instead. And so Alex is the one that said, yeah, it was hard. You'd borrow a phone, but you still couldn't understand what it said. So, yeah, we saw a lot of the castmates that are the racers missed their train. Where were they? Well, some station in Berlin. It was too early and all that. I know what that's like. I've told y'all the story before. I was trying to get from downtown Tokyo back to the airport, Narita airport, and didn't realize that I was supposed to change trains halfway there. Didn't think anything about it. I'm just la 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 la, thinking this is an express train all the way to the airport. No, it wasn't. It kept going until suddenly I look out. I'm in the middle of absolute nowhere. All the tourists are gone. Everyone's gone except for myself and people who live in very rural parts of Japan. And so I had to finally find a conductor who didn't speak English, but I showed him my plane ticket. And from that, he figured out I'd screwed up, got back to the airport with like 5 minutes to spare. So yeah, I know what it's like to not be able to figure out those trains and schedules and all of that. But beyond that, the challenges so far, I think I'd do okay with them. I think we would do okay with all of them. For those of you who remember the last episode, they had to memorize the backs of chairs or carry glasses around to different locations. I would have carried those glasses around to different locations without hesitation. It's not so much memorizing. I think I've got a pretty decent memory. It's having to pronounce all of the different things that they had to pronounce in another language. That's the tough part. And that's the part I would have had difficulty with and why I would have immediately gone to the glasses instead. But no, I'm enjoying the season. I'm a little disappointed they're only going to be in Europe. If I was on the show, I would have wanted to go all over the world. I would have wanted to circle around the world instead of just staying in Europe. But it is what it is. Yeah, and so it's fine. Amanda's saying, we need more of your travel stories. All right, well, that may be some good off-season stuff to do, Amanda. With Big Brother, I tend to tail off on it a little bit, but I do have some stories. I've got a lot of stories. When I tried out for Big Brother, that's what I told the producers. If I'm in the house for 99 days, I've got 100 stories that I have to tell. And I had them. I look back there, Big Brother, and I wasn't asking enough about the stories. No one else in there really cared so much about my stories. I told a few here and there, but no one cared. They didn't want me going on. That old guy, he's over there blabbing about his travel adventures again. But I'll tell y'all as we go forward. Yeah, I'd absolutely love to. I've had a lot of fun ones. Nicole O'Hara, hey, Nicole saying, hi, rewatching your season right now. All right, well, I don't want to spoil it for you then. I haven't seen the whole season. I have not seen the whole season. I've watched maybe the first half or so. Every once in a while, it'll be on Pluto TV in an episode, and we'll stop and watch it. And it never fails. The episode I get to is one of the more stressful ones. One of the ones where they're all yelling at Ovi and Nicole, or where I'm on the block. It's never the fun episodes that I end up catching as I'm just going around and watching. Mosu is saying, did you see Christy on Sharon Tharp's podcast? Yeah, I saw that pop up. I had no idea she was doing it. It just popped up on one of my feeds. I went out and watched it last night before calling it a night. She did great. I think Christy did well on the podcast. If you haven't checked it out, do so. It's about an hour long, but Christy did well talking about coming out of the house and the fact that our season, a lot of people were, not happy with us and felt like the Grateful Eight, the Hateful Eight were kind of bullies and all that. And she talks about all of that. It's funny because at one point she talks about if she had to do it over again, she knew that she really did not want to work with Jack and Mickey, but because they were kind of the big alpha guys, that she felt like she kind of had to. But if she had to do it all over again, she would have liked to have worked with Jessica, that she would have liked to have worked with me perhaps, but she didn't feel like I ever really trusted her. Well, why would you say that when you're the one who put me on the block? You're the one that eavesdropped. You're the one that convinced everyone to blindside me instead of Nicole. And yet, having said all of that, I approached Tommy and said, look, if and when this alliance breaks up, and it will, I would like to work with you and Christy because y'all are passionate Big Brother fans. And I think that I'm a passionate fan just because we all have so much respect for the game. I'd like to work with y'all. It wasn't me that wasn't willing to work with them. It was the other way around. But, it is what it is. And after the game was over, the three of us, not everyone on our season, but the three of us were very much like, yeah, it's a game. Now we're we're back to the real world. And so I love talking to both of them and all that. But no, she did a fantastic job just talking about the season and would she come back and what she thought about while she was in there. She talked about having to adjust to the real world also, and having psychologists in there to help you out and things like that. She complained. She said, "Oh, the psychologist is very old, so I didn't really feel like I could relate very well to the psychologist." Maybe that's why I related so well when I talked to the psychologist, because we weren't the same age, but I was closer than they were. But yeah, if you haven't watched it, check it out. Christy did a good job. It reminded me I need to reach out to Christy. Her kids are almost 2, and yeah, life goes on for all of us once you finish up the show. All right, let's see. Amanda's saying Kelly's dad said she was having trouble adjusting. Yeah, I saw that, and I didn't. Were you the one? Someone sent me a DM mentioning that, but I never could find the video or the direct source where her dad is talking about that. I hope that's not the case, but I'm not surprised if it is. I reached out, I think, to pretty much every house guest and said, "Hey, hope you enjoyed the experience. Welcome to the Big Brother family. Don't worry too much. No one comes out to 100% love or hate either one, but don't let anything get to you. Just hang around your family and friends, adjust, and if you need people who've got your back, please let us know." And so yeah, I sent something like that to Kelly. Had not heard back from her, but did that to everyone. So I did the same thing to Vince. Have not heard back from him either. So I hope that means they're laying low and avoiding some of the worst of what social media sometimes can bring. I did that. I did post sent some stuff to Ashley, and she responded back, including my clip from the preseason cast assessment where I was saying, "Hey, I think she's a complete package. I think Ashley wins this thing. Not only is she my winner's pick, but I think she could be one of the final 3 finalists for America's favorite player." Well, she didn't make that part, but she did win the game. So yeah, that's 2 out of 3 seasons. 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I picked the Jag to win season 25. Got that one right. This year, I picked Ashley to win. In between, last year, I picked Tucker to win the whole thing. I still think he could have done it if he wasn't as wild and crazy about playing the blockbuster comps and all that. But no, I felt good. So she responded back, said, "Thank you so much. I appreciate the support and all that." So yeah, sometimes you pick and sometimes you don't. It is funny because you have to do that in the real game, right? I mean, I watch these interviews and I try to pick people based on who I think is going to do well. And normally it's because they talk about having some strategic ideas about how they want to play the game. Sometimes it's just a personality. You see some people that just seem charismatic enough that you figure, hey, their social game is going to do well because people are going to gravitate towards them because sometimes it's just because they have a smile on their face. Nothing more than that. With Jag, it was because he said, "I just want to go in and have fun. I hope I win, but at the end of the day, I want to have fun." It's like, all right, if you can maintain that kind of positive outlook, that's good. But you kind of have to do the same thing when you get in that house on day number 1 immediately, right? I mean, everyone's looking around. Who's going to be the dominant player that I can attach myself to, or who can I trust? You're having to very quickly make evaluations of everyone else in there about who you want to work with, who you are worried about, things like that. So I feel like in the same way I picked preseason is kind of how I played the game of getting in there. Now, the difference is you can pick the people you want to work with, not want to work with, etc., but they may not pick you. It goes both ways, right? Which makes it a lot tougher when you're actually playing the game. But I do remember that the first day or two, just looking around quickly and saying, all right, who's going to who's going to last a long time in this game versus the people who are just going to be flashing the pans because they don't have it figured out well enough. And so, yeah, I think if you're going to go in the house, if you're going to be a future Big Brother player, you've got to be prepared to very quickly make some appraisals, some estimates, some guesses about the different people in the house. Now, unfortunately, sometimes that means that you make bad assumptions. And sometimes you make bad assumptions based on bad, things that you may not be basing your estimates on the best things to be basing on. It's hard. It's hard to figure out and quickly be playing that game on day number 1 or 2. Let's see. Vinny, Nathina Bowman saying, "Do you think Vinny and his girlfriend got back together?" Ma saying, "No, Splitsville." Paul is saying Vinny isn't dating anymore. And Michelle Moore saying, is Vinny dating Morgan? Well, I I saw an Instagram post. I think it was Instagram, maybe it's Twitter. Some coffee shop had up trivia of the day. Get 10 cents off your cup of coffee if you get it correct. And it said something that Vince from Big Brother 27's girlfriend's name is A. Kelsey B. Morgan. And like, man, that's a dig right there. That's pretty rough. That's pretty brutal. Are they dating? I don't know. I saw one little clip saying supposedly paparazzi had seen him and Kelsey hanging around with each other one time, but the fact he's laying low and all of that, I don't know. Can I say? I was going to say I don't care, but I actually do care. I hope whatever the good outcome is, and I don't know what that is, but I hope they're able to resolve it. If she's absolutely irritated with him and Vince took it too far, according to the rules they had set in place and all that, I hope they at least had a time to talk it out and come to some kind of an understanding, even if that doesn't mean they stay together. For all we know, she absolutely said, hey, do whatever it takes, and I'm cool with it. I kind of don't see that being the case, but who am I to judge? Who am I to decide what other people are going to deem acceptable or not acceptable? And if they're together, great. If they're not, I hope it was a mutually agreed upon type situation. I think of my season where Bella and Nick were an item while they were in the house. Then she goes out the door. Sorry about that, Bella. He is my HOH. Sometimes things happen. But she went out the door, and next thing you know, Nick and Kat are dating inside the jury house. There's got to be something a little difficult of being, I don't know, shown up like that on TV on a weekly basis, or anything. At least they were in the jury house, so you didn't see it night after night. So it's a little bit easier, hopefully, for Bella, but still's gotta hurt. I mean, that's going from playing a game to real world emotions when you have a situation like that. And with regards to Morgan and Vince, whatever was going on between them, Morgan is saying it was all platonic, that he always was platonic. She may have thought that. And maybe Vince thought that as well. I can see a situation where you say, hey, as long as we don't do anything, then it's platonic. That could be, but there still seem to be very strong emotions involved in those two, which in the outside world, I think dating people would have issues with. Inside the game of Big Brother, maybe not. But I don't know. I hope, however it works out, it's a positive experience at the end. And if they're no longer together, then maybe that was meant to be, and it just brought it to a head faster than it would have otherwise. I'm going to stay optimistic about it, but at the end of the day, whatever happens with them happens. I hope that no one is staying together or not staying together based on pressure from outside sources that probably shouldn't be influencing that decision, and yet they often do. I'll just leave it at that. All right, let's see. Jane Haven. Hey, Jane, how are you? Saying, what did you think of the opening of Amazing Race? Was taken aback by a competition before the race even started. Yeah, it was. It was kind of interesting, and I can't remember now. Tell me if I'm wrong. The first competition was the sliding across the ice, right? But to get the two fast passes and all that. They didn't want to do one before that, did they? But they got right into the program itself. That's one of those. I feel like I would have done pretty well. I mean, I think I could have pushed my son into a bunch of bowling pins without too much difficulty. I'd like to think so, but no, they got right into it, which I've enjoyed. I will say, and Sharon and I have argued, not argue, that's the wrong word. We've talked a lot about the competitions that they've done so far, because some of them I feel like have been a little easy compared to what I would expect from other seasons. Just, walking, carrying things from one place to the other without necessarily as much adversity built into it. Some of the competitions just seem a little Amazing Race light, and maybe it's just they're working their way into the more difficult stuff. And it's a lot easier for us when we're watching it, say, I could do that. Yeah, that wouldn't be a problem at all. But I know the first episode I was like, yeah, that was all right. But I don't feel like there was enough emphasis on the competitions themselves. But I think that'll change. And the whole idea that because you've got all Big Brother players, I think you're going to see a lot more strategy and betrayals and things like that. And I hope Amazing Race has built that in a little bit, recognizing that you've got people who are used to playing that kind of game. We saw that a little bit even in the first episode where they had not just one ice bowling. Yeah, okay, yeah, thank you, Brian. I appreciate that. I thought that was the first one, ice bowling. That'd be fun to do in the real world, right? I think that'd be, you could make a whole sport of that. But who was it? Kylan and Taylor won that first fast pass. But just to give a little strategic to it, they had another one they had to distribute, and they gave it to Jag and Jas, and there were people complaining about that. I hope they do a lot more things like that, and road turns. Is that the U-turns? And just a lot of things where people can influence and screw up other people's games. Bring in a little bit of the Big Brother world into Amazing Race. I think that would be a lot of fun. So I hope it's not just a regular Amazing Race. I hope there's a little more strategy built in. And if that means the comps are a little bit easier, I'm okay with that. Let's see. Cindy Hire says, yes, see, we are at the Dixie Chicken again. And Mark is saying, how is A&M football going? Yeah, y'all know I've had so many episodes of shows where I've had the Big Brother house behind me and the people and all of that. I got home from work and it's like, all right, where's my happy place, my happy spot? When everything is just overwhelming and all that, it was stressful, even not being in the house, watching these Big Brother players having to make some of these decisions. I felt the stress rising up a little bit. So I thought, where's my happy place? And it's probably the Dixie Chicken, which y'all have heard me talk about before. It's the bar for Texas A&M. At one point, they served more beer per square foot than any other bar in the entire United States, probably because it's a fairly small little bar, but been there since the early 70s. Just a legacy, an icon of this. Dixie Chicken to Texas A&M is what OTEV is to, or Zingbot is to Big Brother. It's just a place that everyone has to visit when you come to College Station. So yeah, I wanted to throw the Dixie Chicken up there for a little bit. A&M football is doing pretty well. I know most of y'all are like, yeah, whatever. We're 5-0, so I'll take advantage and brag about them while I can, and hopefully it stays going strong here for a little while. Yeah, they got a good year going on. All right, Mark Taylor saying, who's your favorite to win Survivor, and who do you hate? Man, Mark, that is so. I don't even know all the names yet because we have seen so little focus on some of the other tribes. My favorite is going to be Christina, only because I met her. She was one of my favorites even before I met her. Just she reminded me of some of the past players we've seen that are just huge smiles and seem very happy to be out there. And the one that immediately comes to mind is Marianne from a few seasons ago. She always was smiling. I feel similar with Christina a little bit. And when I met her at the finale last week of the Big Brother show, she was exactly the same. She's from this area, from Houston, OU, or Oklahoma area. Both lived in different areas. So we've got a lot of the same connections in terms of where we've been, things like that. So I definitely am cheering for Christina. And I hope she does fantastic. She did tell me, I said, you're who I'm cheering for. She said, well, I hope you feel that way as we get towards the end of it. It's like, yeah, I'm not asking you whether you did good or bad, but hopefully that's the case. I can't imagine her turning into a villain or anything else, but they haven't really shown her because she's on the Yellow Tribe, which has done pretty well so far. It's different than Big Brother, where you're voting and you're potentially on the block from day number one. Everyone is playing the game, right? Whereas with Survivor, if you just win that one challenge, you're safe that day from the tribal council. You win 2 days in a row, you're safe 2 days in a row. You know, as you go home from that competition, that you're not going home that night. There's no blind sides, anything, as long as you're not on a losing tribe. So I feel like there's a lot more hot and cold. You're either doing really well or really not so well on Survivor. If your team loses, suddenly you're one of 6. Whereas in the Big Brother house, you're one of 16 that first week that potentially could go home. So, I feel like Big Brother is a little bit more of a scale, whereas Survivor is either good or bad in terms of how you're doing. And fortunately for Christina, so far so good. She's been doing well. Who I don't hate anyone yet. I there's who who just went home. Was it Nicole? I said I don't even know their names yet. She went home and she was the rock star, right? Not rock star of Big Brother, but she was like the rock, the rock and roll woman from the Blue Tribe. She went home. No way did I hate her, but I did feel like she was playing a little too hard, a little too fast. She was wanting to get Jake out. This tribe has won nothing. I think for you to come in and say we need to get Jake out when everyone else is going to think we got a whole, no matter how much we may worry about him when he gets to merge and all, right now we just got to win some food, right? We got to win some competitions. I felt like she came in a little too early. There seems like there were a lot of people that were already talking about merge and who do we want to take to merge and all that. That's kind of like worrying too much in Big Brother about who do I want on jury. They're not there yet. They just need to do whatever it takes to, one, have a group that can actually win some competitions, keep you off the block, and two, have some people that you feel like you probably could work with past the merge to some degree. But I don't know. Just like Big Brother, I think the first few weeks, well, not weeks, the Survivor seems like it's once a day, I guess, out there. But the first few rounds, it's not about anything other than as long as it's not me, the Sandra Diaz type of deal. I don't care who goes home as long as it's not me. I think you have to do that. Once you've built a few days, you've been out there for a week, then you can start figuring out who you trust the most and work with. Right now, it's just make sure it's not you. All right, Cindy Hire is saying, Annie went home. Thank you. I think Nicole was the week before, right? I think so. And then Annie went home. Sophie was the one who the edit showed that maybe it could be her or not. That tribe, and we've seen a few seasons before where one tribe just gets decimated and the other tribe, and I'm not sure that's always a good thing for the other tribes. On the one hand, it means that you're safe that much longer and all that, but it also means that you don't really have your loyalties tested until much later in the game, which maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that gives you more time to adjust to other people, but you don't really know who you can trust until you see that trust in action. And the only way that happens really is with tribal council. Maybe they share that they found an immunity idol, a few things here or there, but yeah, Mark, I don't know. I'm just a little too early. I'm still trying to, as you can tell, I'm still trying to figure out their names, and we haven't seen the other two tribes as much. One person I do like, and please y'all tell me, I can't remember his name. The younger guy seems very excited to be. Y'all know who I'm talking about, right? Black hair, younger guy, just very, very forward. I don't know the right way to describe it. Very, very top, very full of energy. I'll put it like that. He seems like he could be fun to do. Now I do, and I don't want to hear any spoilers. I know there's spoilers out there, but I also do know that season 50 has two people from Survivor 49 who are playing this next season as well, and they haven't officially announced who it is. I've been watching to see who I think are going to be those two people going forward. I figure it's got to be one guy, one woman, but beyond that, I don't know yet. But I'm definitely watching, and we may talk about that as well. I know some of y'all probably know. Once upon a time, it was such a big deal to hear spoilers, and there were people posting on social media and all that. Nowadays, I like it better because if you really, really want to know, then you can find it. But if you don't want to know, it's not thrown up in your face too much either. So that's probably a good in between. All right, Miss Fire saying, just got home. It's my birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Miss Fire. Happy birthday to you. Feliz cumpleaños a tu. Congratulations. Happy birthday to you, my friend. One more year or a circle in the sun. Congratulations. Always a fun day. I hope you're going to spend some time doing a little celebrating. You can use one of my old celebratory moves and celebrate your birthday a little bit, Miss Fire. Well, here's the thing. Thank you for spending your birthday with me and with all of us. It means a lot that you're hanging out with us on your very special day. So happy birthday to you, Miss Fire. I hope you have a blast throughout the whole day and enjoy. It doesn't have to be birthday, just like Jasmine from a couple of seasons ago. Enjoy your birthday week. Enjoy your birthday month as well. Turn it into a month-long celebration. Let's see. Ken T is saying, how do the winners get their money? Check or electronic transaction? I don't know. I've always wondered, do they get one of those big checks and you have to go into the wouldn't it be great just go into the don't even go to the bank, just go into the grocery store and say, yeah, I need a cash check or something. Yeah, I think they'd have an issue with that. I don't know. I do know I got a little something something for my season, stipends and a little extra for finishing playing as long as I did and all that. It's just a check. It's just a standard old check. I think it was from I don't know, Flying the Wall Productions or something like that, and that was it. Not nearly as big a check as I thought it would be once the state of California took their big old bite out of it, along with federal and everything else. But I knew that. I knew that was going to be the case. I had someone, and I'm not going to say who. It was not from my season, but during meet and greets, I talked to someone who had been on a previous season who said, be very careful because if you aren't paying attention, you're going to owe a fortune in taxes that are going to come back and bite you. And this person had to sell a lot of Big Brother memorabilia and things like that to have the money to pay for the taxes because they didn't properly take that into consideration. So Richard Hatch, first season of Survivor. I think he said something about, yeah, I won $1 million, but I thought they paid the taxes. I didn't think I had to. Well, of course you have to. You gotta watch out for that. There are a lot of folks have done reality TV, got burned a little bit. You do these cameos and things like that. Government wants a little bite out of all of that. And there's people who have not paid attention to that until it's a little too late. So it's gotta be careful. Yeah, I think it's just a standard old check. But yeah, if it's $1 million, maybe they go ahead and wire it to you instead. I wouldn't care. Whichever way, as long as I get to go to my ATM one of these days, type balance, and it says your balance is $1 million. I'm pretty happy on that particular day. Wouldn't that be cool? All right. Ma is saying, wish we had a jury house cam. Wouldn't that be something? And Jane Haven saying yes. That would be very cool. But the reality is they don't do it because the people there they aren't on. They aren't turned on to the show. And unfortunately, they're probably very boring to watch. Now, I know Christy said during her little conversation with Sharon, she said she loved the jury house because everyone got to see how everyone else was when they weren't playing the game of Big Brother. And so you had friendships naturally developed to some degree. She said she and Jessica stayed up every night longer than everyone else just watching TV. I think she said they binged Sex in the City and some things like that. And so she talked about how incredible it was just to be able to hang around with each other and not have to be in front of the cameras and not playing the game of Big Brother. And I missed all that. And she mentioned that during her thing, said, yeah, Cliff, he never got a chance. I'm glad I did. I get it. But I'm also glad that I missed the chance to be in the jury house because it meant I spent an extra couple of weeks in the Big Brother house. And I'm always going to take that over the other. But yeah, it would be fun to have the cameras. But the reality is it would probably be very boring. And everyone just sits around. I think they said this season, for example, Will and Rachel just kind of, they stayed in their rooms. They stayed quiet. I know Will especially stayed quiet, read a bunch of books. And yeah, you don't want camera. You think it's boring watching someone reading the Bible inside the Big Brother house. At least you got some other cameras to turn to. Inside the jury house, I imagine it would not be so entertaining. But they do cool stuff. They have masseuses who come in and professional chefs and people come in and do all kinds of yoga instructions and things like that. I've heard they keep them busy while they're in the house itself. So yeah, I kind of miss I never got a chance to see the jury house, but I'm still okay with it, given the alternative. All right, let's see. Yeah, we haven't talked. Thank you, Sharon. Let's talk about. We've talked about Big Brother. We haven't, and we talked about Survivor. We talked about Amazing Race. I want to throw a couple other shows out and see if y'all are watching them or not. There's always the other shows, right? Special Forces. Anyone watching that? It's on Fox. It's badass. I mean, I always say the challenge is tough because they've got to get out and do all kinds of hard things. Christy was funny. She talked about that she almost went on the challenge, and then last minute they pulled back her invitation. And she said, that's all right. She said, I couldn't compete in the challenge. What makes them think that I could do the kind of stuff they do on the challenge? I'm not in that kind of shape. And she's right. It probably wouldn't have gone well. But Special forces, they've got 3 or 4. I don't know if these guys are former Army Rangers or Green Berets or exactly what their positions are, but they put these B-list celebrities, I guess, they tend to be celebrities who are trying to rehabilitate their image to some degree. They've got them in having to do just hardcore badass things that you potentially face if you're in the special forces, I suppose. This past episode, they were latched into an airplane that got submerged underwater. You had to wait 20 seconds and then unbuckle yourself and exit through a back panel. And there were people who had panic attacks and hyperventilated and failed and things like that. A whole bunch of running back and forth and crawling through mud and all that. I've watched other seasons of it, but we're watching this season because Johnny Manziel, who won the Heisman from A&M, and kind of one of the main guys I watched, didn't do so well up in Cleveland. Sorry about that, Brian, but for the most part, he had a great college career. But he's on the show and he's trying to struggle with all of this. So we're definitely watching Special Forces. All right, Dr. Bose. Howdy, Cliff. How much would it change the game if Big Brother eliminated the jury house altogether and let all ousted guests vote for the final 2? That would be very interesting, because if you're talking about eliminating the jury house, does that mean that no one is under sequester? As soon as you're eliminated, you go home and you see all the social media that's talking good about some people, bad about other people, and all that. And if that's the case, I don't know. My thinking is that you would tend to have people who won based on what social media thought should be the winner, right? You kind of end up people piling on, jumping onto the bandwagon and all of that. I think at the end of the day, if you do that, you have people who end up winning by popularity contest, right? Whoever seems to have the most fans that jump on and start voting, as opposed to maybe who played the best game. Christy talked, I keep bringing up her interview, but I thought it was a good interview. Christy talked about that she really was bitter against Mickey and did not want to vote for him over Holly, but she had too much respect for the game and she voted for him anyway, even though maybe she would have preferred to see Holly win from just an emotional standpoint. She said it was a battle between her brains and her heart. I think Tommy felt the same way. I felt the same way. There were a lot of us who felt that way, but we all ended up not wanting to be bitter jurors. I think if you didn't have jury house, it becomes much easier just to vote for whoever is the popular person, as opposed to maybe who played the best game. So I'm not for that. And look at Daniel Reyes from, was it season 2 or 3? I think she was 2, right? Where that was before sequester. And if they had sequester back then, she probably would have won. That's the other thing. If you don't have the jury and sequester, then I think it stifles a lot of the gameplay inside the house, because I guarantee if I know that people who potentially are voting to give me $750,000, if they're going to be watching my diary room sessions, I'm not going to be in there going, they're in trouble. All these idiots, they don't have any clue what I'm getting ready to do. You can't be free about your conversations if you're in a diary room, if you think there's a chance that eventually they'll see it. They did that during my season. Before the season even started, Rich came in, Meehan, and said, Cliff, just, so you know that anything you say in a diary room will never be shared with anyone playing the game until the season's over. We don't do that. And I said, well, you say that, but they did that up in Big Brother Canada. They played some stuff that was supposed to be private and it burned some people. And Rich said, yeah, that's Big Brother Canada. That's not Big Brother USA. I'm swearing up and down right now, we do not do that down here, Cliff. You can say whatever you want and it won't get out here in our diary room. And I took him at his word, and I don't have any reason to think that's not the case. But if you knew people were going to see it before they cast the vote, everyone's going to hold their tongue. Everyone's going to be that much more careful. Just look at even the way people are treated sometimes if they're pre-jury versus jury. Pre-jury, they're like, whatever. I saw I betrayed him. Saw I stabbed him in the back. Whatever. He's not voting, so I don't really care. Whereas once they make jury, then you've got to be a little bit more focused on jury management. If everyone can watch, you've got to be a little more careful from the very start. So I think in some ways it would, I'm not for it. I think it would create less of a pure game as a result. Having said that, thank you, Dr. Rose. Thank you for the support yet again, for the super stamp, whatever they call it. But I appreciate your support week in and week out. And yeah, good question. Do they do that in other countries? I mean, I know other countries it's more the public that votes out the person. It's a little bit different format because here in the United States, we voted out all mean people and kept the nice people, and which leads to a lot less chaos and animosity and things like that within the House. But do they have sequestered jurors in other countries with other Big Brothers? I don't know. I'd be curious for those of you who do know, let me know. I think they do in Australia. I've watched some seasons of that Big Brother Australia, but not so much other spots around the world. I'm curious. I'll have to do some checking. All right. So we talked about special forces. Another one I really want to point out if y'all haven't seen it yet, 99 to Beat. Now, I know someone who's on that show. Tommy Bracco is on the show, and his dad as well. It is so fun. Y'all remember there used to be an old show, Minute to Win It, where you had to do some little task in a minute or else you were eliminated. Well, this is similar to that, except instead of having a minute to do a task, you're given some very basic task, but you have to do it faster. You can't be the last person that doesn't finish the task. If you do, you're eliminated. So one person at a time is eliminated. They've had one or two where more than one person goes out. Cara from the challenges on there. Sandra Diaz is on there. So they got a few reality TV type people, but they do anything from taking 6 nuts like you, not nuts like you eat, but nuts like you screw onto a bolt. And you have to, using a chopstick, stack 6 of these things one on top of the other. And whoever's the last person to do it gets eliminated. They had one where they had 80-something people left. Massive pile of shirts in the middle of this competition arena. Each shirt had someone's name on it. You had to dive into this pile, find the shirt that had your name on it, put it on, and the last person to find the shirt with their name on it was eliminated. Very basic stuff. One where you had to take 5 little tubes of pasta. Is that cannoli? I don't know why they, but the pasta tubes, and take a spaghetti strand and using just with your mouth, thread that strand through 5 of the pasta tubes and lift the whole thing up. So yeah, it's just fun, silly stuff. A lot of events, a lot of challenges that Sharon and I immediately are writing down saying, all right, next family reunion, we're going to try this one out. So we've done that. It's a little bit of a Squid Game feel, and that someone gets eliminated every time, similar to Squid Games, the reality show, not Squid Games, the TV show, where the elimination takes on a whole different format. But it's a fun one to watch. I think that and Special Forces are both on Fox, and I'm going to try to get. I don't know that Tommy's allowed to talk about the show on unofficial channels and all that. Somewhere down the road, once the season's over, I'm going to make sure I'm going to get Tommy on our show here, bring him in as a special guest, and just find out what it was like playing with his dad, but also just playing this game and which ones he enjoyed, which ones he hated, and kind of the background as well. So we've got that. We've got the floor. I know someone on the floor, a couple of people. Johnny Fairplay's on there. David Alexander, though, is also on the floor. I haven't even seen him yet, which I guess is a good thing. Means he hasn't gotten up and played the game just yet, but he's on there. I really want to know what his topic is. He wouldn't tell me when I visited with him during Ovi's wedding, but he's done that. So all kinds of other reality shows. We just started watching Hell's Kitchen as well. I haven't watched that in quite a few years, but yeah, now that I'm not watching the live feeds though every night, I feel like I've got a little more time to watch all these goofy, silly shows. We just got through watching Project Runway as well. Yeah, I don't look like a Project Runway kind of guy, do I? No, I would do horrible at it. There's a reason I was voted worst dressed during my season of Big Brother 21, but it's still fun to watch. And there's 2 things that I feel very, very competent to criticize fashion designers that I don't know anything about. We used to watch Ink Masters, and I felt very comfortable criticizing people who gave bad tattoos, even though I don't have an artistic bone in my body. But yeah, it's fun. My parents did own a fabric store, though. So even though I'm not necessarily a fashion designer, I do know how to sew. I did grow up sewing. I still sew buttons. I can do zippers. I theoretically can put a pattern onto a piece of fabric and cut it and know how to do. It's been a long time. It's not necessarily my most competent skill. But I can do little things here and there. So I always came in handy on Halloween, making some costumes and all of that. So we got that. All right, Big Jake 88 saying it's October, spooky season, great time for some scary movies. Yes, very, yeah. Thank you, Jake 88, for that. And I want to do something a little special with that. And with that in mind, yeah, 7:56. What perfect timing. Thank you, Sharon, for reminding me. Big Jake, she had your question up there for a while and was holding off till the perfect time. Halloween, scary stories, scary movies, all of that. I've got a couple of special guests that I'm going to probably bring on the show, not next Monday, the following Monday. I think it's the way it's going to work. And I'll hold off on the reveal till a little bit later. But I got a couple of special guests, and we're going to spend a lot of probably the whole hour talking about Halloween and things. And if y'all want to make some guesses, that's fine. But I will neither confirm nor deny until next week. But yeah, I'm gonna have special guests on here. We'll talk about what's your scariest movie, your craziest Halloween costume. We'll have fun with it. So y'all come prepared as well. I want to get y'all's comments and thoughts and all of that. I watched not to give away too much, but I was just flipping through the channels and The Ring was on one of the Shudder or some channel that I just don't even realize I get it. That is a scary movie. That still scares me even thinking about that movie. And I only saw it once, and that's really all I ever want to see it. But we'll talk about some other ones as well. All right, guys. Misfire pumpkin spice and everything nice. We have my local grocery store came out with pumpkin pie ice cream. And I got some samples while I was at the grocery store this weekend. I'm not always a huge fan of pumpkin pie, but maybe I will be after tasting that ice cream. That's all I need is one more ice cream flavor to fall in love with. All right. With that being said, 7:57. We'll probably shut it down right now. Jen saying, were you asked to do Amazing Race? I wasn't asked to do it, but I was contacted about the possibility of doing it. And I've told y'all before, yeah, all you got to do is call. So they asked me, I said, yeah, absolutely. I'd love to do it. It'd be a lot of fun. Had a lot of conversations with people. It's going to be my son and myself, Daniel, and Daniel and I were going to do it together. We took pictures. We filled out every kind of contract and everything you can imagine. We visited with a lot of the big wigs, producers for Amazing Race, and got to say hello to Phil. And yeah, so we actually were further along in the process, and then things happen. I guess we didn't make the final cut. So I always tell y'all out here that when you're trying it for Big Brother, if you make it a little ways, but you don't make it to the end, you can't worry about it. You can't feel bad about it. You can't feel like you failed. Same way with me in The Amazing Race. I would have loved to have done it just so my son would get to do some reality TV, and because I know how incredibly good he would have been at it. God, he would have left me in the dust. So I was disappointed for that reason. But at the end of the day, it was still fun that they reached out. It makes me think that if CBS was willing to consider me, then maybe that's something good. I guess no one hates me over there, right? But yeah, it would have been fun. I kind of think Enzo may have taken my spot. The older guy, kind of archetype and all that. So it is what it is. Maybe somewhere down the road, something else happens. They're just saving me for something even bigger and better on down the road. Maybe they just heard that Naked and Afraid's coming calling for me. And Sharon saying, yeah, I hope not. All right, guys, we're going to go and shut it down. It's 8:00. Let me call it good there. And check out some of those reality shows. And here's the other thing. If y'all got some reality shows that you're watching that I may be missing out on, there's so many on Netflix and all these other channels. If you got a good one that you fall in love with, let me know. We'll promote it. We'll talk about it a little bit as well. And at the same time, be thinking about y'all's scary movies. What is y'all's Halloween go-to? Because if we talk about it next week or the week following, that gives us some time to watch it before Halloween comes along. So we'll put a little list together. I really want to get y'all's thoughts. I'm old school because I'm kind of old. Y'all probably have some different ones as well, but we'll look at them all. All right, guys, have a great Monday. Enjoy the rest of your week. I'll finish up with a big old SKD 143. Love my wife, love my kids, love reality TV, love you guys as well. And again, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please consider doing so, turning on notifications, hitting the thumbs up as well. Thank y'all for y'all support, and such a fun way to spend every Monday evening with y'all guys. This is episode 249. Next week's episode 250. I don't know that we'll do anything that special, but it's still kind of cool. Some of y'all been hanging around with me for a long, long time, and I appreciate the support. And I feel like I've kind of watched some of y'all growing up a little bit as well, and such. So have fun with y'all every Monday night. Appreciate it, guys. All right, with that, I'll shut it down. Y'all have a great one. SKD 143. Cheers, my friends. Bye. Now I catch my breath. We'll see y'all later, guys.